would you believe if I tell you that I didn't feel pretty my whole life? And it's true. I didn't feel pretty my whole life, and I didn't even realize I didn't feel that way until last year when I met my ex's mom, and I told him later, hey, like, your mom didn't call me pretty. And then I startled myself when I said that to him, and she did. In fact, I didn't hear it, but it doesn't matter. That's not the thing. But here's the thing. I went to my coach and I went to my therapist and said, I said this, and I'm just like, I don't know where it's coming from. And she said, and they said that I didn't feel pretty. And so I didn't feel pretty from inside, which I wasn't aware that I didn't. And so I constantly needed this external validation from outside of the world that I'm pretty. And so my therapist said that this is a void because your mom didn't call you pretty your whole life. And so because your mother didn't call you pretty your whole life, and so that is a void you're always going to have, because I don't have a mother who calls me pretty, right? Who said to me that I'm pretty growing up. And so so this is always going to be a void, but I have to find a way to feel pretty within myself, in addition to knowing that this is a void, so that I don't go look outside of me to feel as I'm pretty, meaning from other people that I'm pretty. And so that led me to go into my own exploration of doing things that made me feel pretty. Dancing made me feel pretty, wearing outfits and dancing, or normal clothes. I started wearing clothes that made me feel pretty. And so now I've come to a place of like, I'm pretty. But here's the better thing about that. But I've also come to a place of not putting prettiness as something that determines my worth. I don't see anyone's external, how they look from outside, as a factor in determining somebody's worth. But if I hadn't done that work within myself to know that I needed that validation from outside, in addition to knowing how to give that to myself, and knowing the void I have, I wouldn't have come to this place of self-worth. So I guess the lesson here, in me sharing and being vulnerable and sharing this, is that the insecurities we have, a lot of times, they are not even something that somebody else sees, but we have it because we have some wounds from childhood. My mother is pretty, I would say. And I always felt so proud that my mother was pretty. And everybody said, oh, your mother is prettier than you. And they always compared me to my mother, and my mother was pretty. But then I felt so proud that my mother is pretty. Like, I didn't feel any kind of jealousy or negative feelings about that. But I didn't realize how that became a void for me in terms of not being called pretty by my mother. And so I didn't feel pretty. Isn't that so interesting? And my mom is somebody who saw a lot of worth in being pretty. And my dad actually said that my dad married my mom because he was pretty and he wanted to have pretty kids. But isn't that ironic that despite I didn't feel pretty? You see how everything is internal, how everything is related. That is how you grow, when you confront pictures that just startles you sometimes, or at least you become aware to see them.